What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Bittersweet Podcast. It's your girl, Wintana.
And I'm Rahel.
And we have a special guest in the building. You introduce yourself as Noor the Baghdadi.
I'm Noor the Baghdadi.
From the Disruption Podcast. How are you?
I'm good. What am I? I'm long ass drive to get here, but that's Melbourne. I realize it's a big city.
It's huge.
Like, everything is down my way. So I'm like, everything between 20 to 30 minutes tops. And then you're like, bro, how am I still here? An hour, 30, 40. And it's like, I could have flown to Sydney quicker than this.
Do you do everything?
Like,
actually not wrong.
It's stupid.
But do you do everything? Are you always staying in your area?
I don't know about. Yeah, I'll say everything maximum like goes to city, South Melbourne, that kind of region.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything's on our side.
That's the same as me. And I get so bored. Like the other day, I was like, okay, I'm going to go into the city and just do something different because I'm just like, I need to see something. I'm so over it. Yeah. Because you just end up staying in your little pocket of Melbourne and there's like, I don't know, there's so much happening on all the sides. I don't know. But yeah, anyways. We're going to get right into this week's episode. So firstly, we're going to start off with general knowledge questions. I'm sure you've seen a few of the... Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How do you
I
feel?
prepared a question for you guys either. If you guys feel like playing.
100%. Yeah. Do you know what we were actually saying right before the episode? Because the first time we did the general knowledge, we did 3-on-3. So we got Dami and Rahel to verse each other, and then me and Dami. But then after that, we were like, let's just ask the person. But it's not as fun.
It actually,
it's better when...
Legit. That's why I prepared it. I was like, it's actually more fun when everyone's...
See what happens when you get a podcaster? They know. They know. All right, first question.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a... Kind of got a double question in it. But can you name the 5 colors that represent the Olympic rings, and what does each color represent?
Yeah. Oh, when they're competing or...
No, this is you.
I know this, yeah.
You know this?
Yeah, black, yellow, red, blue, green. And they're the continents.
But, okay, name the continents.
Name
them which one?
Wait, to each color?
Name them to each color.
Okay. Well, so it was mad racist that they chose yellow to be Asia.
Yeah.
I think black is Africa, right? Yeah. Green is... No, I'm trying... green is like Oceania? Like Australia?
Yes.
Yeah. North America's blue, South America's red.
Wait, hold on.
This is all I guess.
The colors. Actually, my friend's playing up. Rahel, can you fact check that?
Yeah.
I can't believe you got that.
Yeah.
Our questions are not hard enough.
No, okay. See,
how did you know that?
I'm one of these people that just knows random stuff.
And I knew Noor would know stuff. I was like to Rahel, I tested on her, and she's like, we were like, yep, that's a good one. Even me, I was like, I don't know, like let's do the double questions so you won't get it.
No, like I didn't want to say it just in case I start messing up and getting everything wrong, but I was like, I'm good at general knowledge.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're partially
America's
right.
wrong? Or?
So it's blue for Europe, yellow for Asia, black for Africa, green for Oceania, and red for America.
Okay.
Did you say America was blue?
Blue.
I think I did America and South America, and I left out Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, why does South America get nothing?
Nah, I feel like...
It's just the Americas.
Yeah, it's just the...
Yeah, do you reckon it's just the Americas?
Yeah.
I don't know. Europe is a pretty big
actually,
one.
Yeah, probably.
You can't just leave out Europe.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like one or the other. We only have 5. Cross them out.
It's where the Olympics started.
Okay. Give him the next question, Rahel.
Oh, now I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, I feel like the other 2 are pretty
I'm going to get
good.
them wrong just so it looks good for the clips. Oh my God, he's so stupid.
Tabby was there. I was fuming.
Yeah.
I'm looking at him and I'm like, find another one. We can't let him win.
Bitch. Okay. Siamese and Burmese are breeds of which animal?
Dogs. Nah, cats.
I didn't even
Wait,
know
what?
that.
You knew it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I feel like we just have to keep going.
That's
until
a common
there's ones
knowledge
that he
thing,
doesn't know.
right? And I'm horrible
The
at
thing
animals.
is, I've heard the word Siamese and the other, what was the other word? Burmese.
Burmese,
but I
'cause
was
there's
just
people
like,
from Burma.
And Siamese, what is, like, I just know Siamese
Siamese
twins
twins.
or whatever, yeah. So I'm like, I've named every animal there is. Besides,
Yeah.
I'm
She
like,
was like-
elephant.
Just like elephant, giraffe,
Were you guys
lion.
Googling like elephant facts, that kind of thing?
No, Rahel was just testing me before,
right.
and then okay, ask him the last one.
Seriously, if you get this one, we just have to ask more questions because this is a joke. All right. What is the smallest country in the world?
The Vatican City.
You know it. Okay. It is what it is. He won the general. I think we just have to step up our general knowledge game.
Yeah, I think you guys need to go specifics.
Yeah, I think we need to go to like specific movie characters or like.
See, I was
in
always,
2002.
No, because I'm like, I don't want to make it too
did.
hard. Like, because if it's too hard and you just can't get it, then that's not true. Annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
True.
Like, if something is way too hard and people, because not everyone does general knowledge, and then it's just like.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that is.
Because then also, like, for the podcast, so it's like you're just going to have endless, like, do you want to go again? Do you want to go? It's just like, this looks bad now.
Damn, I can't believe you got it all right. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. What's your general knowledge question for us?
Shoot. You want me to get these off my phone?
Did you know the biggest, what was it? Biggest tech company in South Korea? Did you know that answer?
No, I think the first thing I said was Kia or something because I just went cars. But yeah. The one I felt so stupid when you asked Tabby, what is it? What's the least common color of M&M? Wasn't M&M always white? Like M&M. And then I was like, oh shoot. All right, let me get these questions up. Oh wait, that's for our podcast. All right. Either of you. Which country won the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup?
Country.
Can we get a clue?
Sure. They've won it multiple times. They've won it the most out of all nations.
The FIFA Women's World Cup.
Yeah.
France?
No.
Is it Europe? Is it in Europe?
No.
Australia?
No.
Brazil?
No.
Is it in Africa?
No.
USA?
USA.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're coming in. Next person on the episode. Next person
on
this
gonna
podcast
have a hard time.
is gonna have a very rough time.
I'm gonna get my. Do you remember that game, Trivial Pursuit?
Oh yeah.
And it's like
I don't know that game.
Trivial Pursuit, and it's like proper, like it's
we need to go hard. Like
we're gonna go hard.
Yeah,
this is like a joke.
We can't just have people answering the right questions.
Why is everyone at the top of the leaderboard?
Yeah, now everybody's just floating.
It's everyone and Dami.
The two of you. No, it's who's the girls from the feed room. Yeah. They got one.
God damn.
Yeah, they got one.
Which one did they get? And even
the magpies. The questions about what do you call a group of magpies?
Yeah,
but they got the
PD
should ask
one
wrong.
What do you call a group of pandas?
What do you call a group of pandas?
Feels like a really racist joke. Like it seems like the start of a racist joke. I actually, honestly, I don't know.
Are you gonna take a guess, or you just don't know?
Group of pandas. Panda? No, panda would be the singular.
They're called an embarrassment.
No way. Oh god.
Oh, okay.
What a friggin' shame.
That's so sad to me, but anyway, in Panda World, I feel like it doesn't matter. So anyway, all right, he got it all right. So moving on to the dilemma segment.
You guys get good dilemmas.
We have really?
Yeah, I feel like we get good stuff, but I feel like you guys, like people, divulge them.
I love when I love that they send us, especially the dating ones, and like just questions about what they're going through. When the men send in questions, I'm like, oh, I get really surprised, don't you?
No, I'm just like toxic.
Yeah. The one last week was a bit,
Yeah, that one was toxic. But do you remember the very first? I think it was the second or the third dilemma, and it was about the guy who was in love with his friend. And he's like, he wrote the funniest description of her and was like, how do I shoot my shot, basically.
Yeah.
But that was funny. They're trying to get game.
Yeah.
So we've got two dilemmas. The first one is, I have the worst luck with dating. I feel like I put myself out there and the guys just don't find me attractive, or there's something about me that makes them not want to date me. I'm starting to lose hope. Can you give me any tips? You take it away.
That is tough. Because it depends, like, why. Because, like, if it's you have high standards for good reason, then it's just a matter of, like, wait, something has to come. You know what I mean? But if it's genuinely, like, people aren't trying to look your way at all, I think that's where you have to, like, look at yourself and be like, all right, what is not, like, what is working for other people that I am also willing to replicate in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a matter of, I don't know, I prefer dressing bummy all the time and comfortable, but it seems to be that the guys keep going for the girls that, look pretty, look cute, all this stuff, then it's like, all right, maybe it's worth putting in a bit of effort on that front. You know what I mean? If it's something that you're like, that's actually not who I want to be at all, then it's like, all right, cool, cut that out. You don't have to even consider it, But I would be intrigued to know, like, what they have tried.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, because it is tough as well. It's like these are very basic things. Like, I'm sure they've tried the whole, looking good, going out, blah, 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 all this stuff. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I read this. I felt so, like, I was sad reading that because I'm like, I don't think you need to change yourself. You know what I mean? Especially, like, the foundations of yourself. I think it comes down to maybe even checking the places that you're looking, like, where are you looking for these men? If you're going out to clubs and then every time you're there the guys are not approaching you or whatever it is, then maybe you need to, like, rethink where you're looking for these men. You can't just be out here expecting that. But I don't know, I think it's just sometimes I feel like the people that you've approached or you put yourself out to, if they've said no, then that's just a good thing for you. You just need to keep being yourself, keep looking, or just keep being open-minded. And then I just think it comes down to timing. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's not about how you're, like, it's not really you. It's just like if people are not ready for you, or maybe it's just not your time. That's how I see it anyway.
I agree with the, like, if, those people have said no, it's like, because it's like, why would you want to be wanted by someone that doesn't want you? Kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, once you've got the answer, like,
especially if you're ready for a relationship and not just out here for fun, then why do you want someone that's just coming for, like, a quick time or something? That's just how I see it. What do you think?
I feel like it depends on where you're at, like, in life. I think the right person comes at the right time, and you have to be open to that person, and you may be doing things without even realizing that are pushing people away. And you might even have people, like, even when you're talking about setting unrealistic standards and stuff like that, like, maybe there are people that could be interested or but that you're not even giving a chance as well.
100%.
I think, like, it just depends, like, because I've been in situations where I've been like, I have such bad luck dating, like, there's no people, there's no one around, but then there's heaps of people around. I'm just like not open to any of it.
Exactly.
That's a massive one where it's like when you're fixated on, like, specific characteristics. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if the qualities of who they are, and, like, and also because this is about, like, genuine relationship, right? So it's like, it's where it really matters, the character of the person, all that kind of stuff. It's like that stuff, fine, try find that. But it's like when it comes to the specifics, are like, I want them to have a degree, or I want them to have this, or I want them to be, this background, that, because that can also be techie. Like, I get why people want that, but it's also, it's like, there's someone that could feel everything except that. It's like, surely you're not going to say no. You know what I mean? It's like broadening your horizon. I feel like you're bound to find somebody easier. You
just have to keep an open mind when it comes to dating. 100%.
You have to keep an open mind, especially, like, if you're in this city, for example. Like, if you're in Melbourne, Australia, then unfortunately, just because of statistics, literally, like, depending on what type of people you're interested in and stuff, like, there's just not that many options, really. So I think that you need to be open to people, and maybe, like, re-look at what your non-negotiables are, and, like, what you want and what you don't want, and take that approach. But then in terms of, because they said that people they didn't feel like people were interested in them.
They said that people, the guys, that they don't find me attractive is what they said. They said guys just don't find me attractive, or there's something about me that makes them not want to date me.
That's so interesting.
I just think I think that's just a closed, like, that's a perspective or something that you've put in your head that is just not true, like, I feel like when maybe they've been rejected, or maybe sometimes it's not even rejection, it's like you just go to certain places and you don't get the attention, so you feel like, they don't, this guy doesn't want me, or I'm not attractive. But I think that's just a mindset thing. You need to just switch your mindset and be more open-minded to other people, and just look in different places.
I think that's what I was gonna say. The look in different places thing is big, because it's like, what if it's a thing of like people that in the space that you're looking in know things about you or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily horrible things, just that things that makes them go like, oh, I'm too close with the guys that she's talked in the past or whatever, you know what I mean? And then it just makes them less illegible in those guys' eyes, or it just feels harder. So it's like, what if just going to a new space helps, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
kind of how some people like
too.
just genuinely go, yo, I'm gonna move countries and find somebody, and that just works for them.
Yeah, and people go to like different environments, like nicer, like instead of going to a club, like I don't want to say go to a bar, but like go to maybe somewhere else that's social. I don't know where else you go, but you know, just
you're not finding your partner at Caramel Sundays.
You're not finding, do you know what I mean? I'm so sorry. Literally you're not, especially lurking in the corners. Just that's not gonna happen.
Hugging walls.
But somewhere like a bit more social, more chill. Like you just don't know where you're gonna find someone. So I feel like you just need to. Be a bit more open-minded.
And I feel like people are attracted to confidence as well. So it's like, as long as you are confident in who you are and confident in yourself, and like brush that rejection off. Like literally everyone gets rejected.
It's not that deep. It's really not that deep.
Oh my God, wait. Can we actually just talk about it? Because I wanted to ask a question. First I want to ask, when it comes to girls shooting their shot, obviously as a guy, what do you think, like, what do you think of that? And what approach, like, can a woman take to shooting her shot? Because I feel like the whole, like, rejection, I was talking to my friends about it the other day, and we were like, the idea of getting rejected. Like, sometimes you're like, okay, I could shoot my shot, but if I get rejected, I will die inside. You know what I mean?
It's because you feel like everyone's going to know.
Everyone's going to know. Especially, like, the way we're all set up, everyone's going to know somehow.
This creative scene in Melbourne, it's not very big. Yeah, I feel like, I can see why that's daunting. But I would say, like, generally speaking, at least the guys that I hang around and stuff, like, it's the confidence of it is attractive, and then it's just like, okay, that's a green light. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm interested in a person, it's like, then it's 100% I'm gonna entertain it as a guy. Sure, like, if I'm not, then it's like, man, I don't know, even that, like, might not be interested now, but then it's like knowing that this person might be interested is like, oh, okay, let me reconsider.
Oh, that's the worst feeling. Imagine like shooting your shot and then they rejected you, and then years later you want to knock on the door again. It's like, no, I've already closed that door.
Yeah, but maybe that person just didn't know. Like, they might not be interested in you at all. Like, you might not even have crossed their mind, you know, but then you shoot your shot, you take that step, and then a little like light bulb just like opens up in that person's mind, like, oh, actually maybe like I didn't see it like that, but you know, I'm gonna pay extra attention to this person because like they made the effort to reach out to me.
Yeah, definitely. I think the woman shooting that initial shot playfully is not a bad thing.
So what does that look like though?
That's the, you know, funny DM. One of the guys the other day was like showing me, some girl like messaged him, and it was just on a thing of like, I like your face, and she sent him like a photo of I know, I think it was worded a little bit worse than that even, but for him it was like, oh, like that's actually kind of cute, you know what I mean? So I think like as simple as that, it's like, it's not a bad approach, you know, because like that, from there it's like, then as a guy it's like you just take it.
So the simple like liking stories and all that, that's not obvious
okay,
enough?
Liking stories, especially now that like I might not even realize that you did it with all these Instagram bots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wait, with all these Instagram
okay,
bots?
actually, this is a thing. Do you guys get random, like, sex bots?
Oh my God, yes. I hate it so much. I don't know what to do. Every time,
I saw an article about it. I was like, is this fucked? But then I saw it's like, it's happening to everyone, isn't it?
Do you get it a lot?
Not a lot, but like...
Because I will say, like, myself and all the guys that I've talked to, it's like, every single thing we'll post.
Yeah.
There's at least like 4 of them on our story liking it, each one.
I get a lot of like, I'll probably get at least one on my story, just liking my stories for every story. Yeah. Not every maybe like once a day if I posted like it's weird.
It's very weird. But what I'm saying is like the liking stories thing, like it'll get lost between all this.
Okay.
But I think being a little like, there's a level of directness required. I think especially like liking stories doesn't mean much. I don't know, maybe reacting and then hoping that it turns into conversation. But it's like, if you keep reacting and they never turn into conversation, it's like, it's quiet here. Like,
read the room, just like,
catch an Uber, go back.
Yeah, that would be the worst.
What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? Like, what's the best way, in your opinion,
as a woman to approach a man?
As a woman to approach a man, yeah.
This is so hard because like I've been like thinking about all this stuff, and like often we'll talk about the woman man thing. Yeah. I find a lot of it has to do with just personality, like personality or maturity, right? Like, because there's some guys out there where it's like if you approach them on like a joke, it's like they don't know how to banter.
Yeah.
And there's also girls out there that just don't know how to banter.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's almost a striking the right person. But it's like, I feel like if you approach something lighthearted, most of the time, it won't fall flat at the very least. You know what I mean? Like, there'll be some level of like, oh, yo, like, what are you saying? Like, blah, blah, blah. Let me find out more about you. All that kind of thing. Just like, whether it's a DM, whether it's in person at as bar or whatever. Yeah.
Just being even like the playful approach.
Yeah, I think that it really does boil down to confidence. Like,
and I think it depends who you're like trying to DM and stuff like that, because I feel like you can catch a vibe from someone whether or not they're going to be open to like a playful little thing or not. I don't know. I think it depends on like the person that you're trying to shoot a shot with as well, because some people. Because it's not a gender thing, but then for some people it is. Like, it just depends on the person. Like, because some guys I've spoken to, they find it really unattractive if a girl shoots their shot, or like, you know, they see it as desperate or whatever. And then other people I talk to are like, nah, like, it's like really attractive.
That's true. Yeah.
Other people are indifferent. Like, it just depends. Personally, I would only shoot my shot at someone I know that's going to be respectful about it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
With guys, I've always heard like they're obviously the open ones that are just chill with you shooting their shot, but then some don't like it because they're like, okay, it just throws the whole dynamic off. Like, now what am I supposed to?
I feel like that's a little bit insecure.
Very.
Like, because it's like from there, like, okay, well, let me take the reins on this.
Carry it. If I've shot my shot, I'm gonna throw my phone and
alley-oop, I'm gonna dunk.
And then I need you to carry the entire thing until I feel normal again, you know? But I feel like, it's that whole thing is weird.
Yeah, I have heard that as well, where it's like, no, I have to be the one, that's whatever. But I was talking about it with the guys recently. It's like, if a girl makes like signs that she's interested, then from there, it's like, it is my job to pursue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
That's calm. Like,
yeah. So in terms of tips, just like, switch up your environment.
Be confident.
And just like, you're not the problem. Don't see it as you're the problem. Like, switch your mentality as well.
Dilemma number 2 is, say you meet a potentially compatible and attractive person at a work event. You want to make a move and ask her out, but you're worried you'll come across as unprofessional and putting a potential collab at risk. You're not worried about the collab as much because business is going well. What do you do?
I just love the last part of that dilemma. Like,
you're not worried too much.
Wait, what was the word?
Collab,
like as in
like collaboration. like you're not worried about the collaboration as much because business is going well.
Yeah.
You want to make a move and ask her out, but you're worried you'll come across. Yeah.
I feel like in Australia there is no proper behavior in corporate like places when it comes to events. Because like when I was working in offices, like Christmas party, it's like everyone's doing coke. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Your boat party, and I'm like, I don't think it matters. Like, don't worry about that side of professionalism, you know?
Yeah. Like, but I feel like it's okay. So which side? Continue.
Like for me, I'm like, yo, if you think this is like a dope person, then let them know that you think they're a dope person.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with you.
But the awkwardness could be crazy.
But the awkwardness is, I just think read the room. Yeah. Like really read the room, read the signs. Like, I just feel like if you're just going to put yourself out there, which is fine because I'm all for like, you know, putting yourself out there, shooting your shot, but just like read the signs of the person. I feel like sometimes people just kind of, like that was a long shot.
Yeah.
You know?
You knew this was a Hail Mary and it's never going to happen.
So I feel like with things like that, read the room and then just don't double down. Like, don't go too hard. If you've already shot your shot, be respectful about it. And if they're not interested, just tap out respectfully and leave it at that. I just don't think you should keep pressing or keep like trying to.
Because then it's an HR case.
Then it's just like, this is a problem. It's just awkward.
Yeah, I feel like if it's like, whenever it's work, like you have to consider the professional boundaries and stuff like that, because no one wants to be like uncomfortable in a work setting.
Yeah.
But if you say that you're compatible, which is what they said, then it's definitely worth trying. Yeah, work is a great place to meet people.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, have you guys ever dated a coworker or had a thing with a coworker?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think kind of. I've had like, I've worked and I've known that like there's like flirting and stuff going on.
I've had flirting, very much like a bit of like a,
but that person never
having a job.
Yeah, you know, it's a little
that person never like officially like shot their shot or whatever. It was just very much
just
like
emails.
No, this was like retail things, which is different. It wasn't like office job. It was like retail work, which is like, I feel like that's a different setting because everyone's like young and they don't really like care about the work. I feel like when it's a corporate setting, maybe it's even a little bit more like, you know,
it's a bit more intense. But if you're like going, you know, gonna actually go and shoot your shot, and also I'm not even just looking at it from an office perspective. I think this person, because they said collab. Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, what about creative industry?
True.
And you're trying to collab with someone in the creative industry, or like in the creative scene. I feel like that could go really well, or it could also be awkward. But maybe the awkwardness could pass as well, right?
I feel like the awkwardness does pass after a little while. It's like as long as things were respectful. Yeah. Then it's like, but if you're one of those people that like reacts to them saying no, like then it's like, you're just a weird person. But
and on the other side, if the other person, it's awkward as well if the other person is talking about it.
100%.
You know, it's like, if I'm now telling disruption, so and so did this, or like to this person, that just makes it, they're obviously immature, like you know. So there's that risk as well. That's why I mean, like, read the room and just like assess the situation, but shoot your shot.
What would you do? What would you do? Like, all right, now you two, either of you ask someone out that's in this creative space, and then they're like, nah, I'm good. And then you find out like they just keep telling
everyone.
You,
I would die. I would die.
Bittersweet has been closed down.
No longer running. I would die even if they didn't go around and tell people. I would just knowing.
Why does it hurt you that much?
It's not the rejection. It's such a small space of people. Yeah. I think if I was to shoot my shot in someone in the if I was to shoot my shot at someone in the creative scene in Melbourne, and they rejected me, that would be so awkward. Because now it's like there's a high chance that a lot of other people know. I guess it's not that deep when you really think about it. I think I'd be going through like pep talking myself every day, but it would just be so awkward.
I think because we don't stop crossing over with each other as well. Yeah. Like, it's endless. It's endless.
But in saying that, I want people to know, shoot your shot. Like, just because I'm shy and I don't know how to
you
shoot
can
my
live
shot,
with the shame.
You live your life and do your thing. I'm just an overthinker and I feel awkward. It's actually, there's actually nothing wrong with it.
No, I feel like more people need to do it.
I know.
Like, especially because the creative scene here is not even just the scene of young people. I don't know, necessarily creative. It's just a small city. So I think people need to be more like open to just like taking, you miss every shot you don't take, like, and just because if no one wants to cross those boundaries, no one's gonna like literally like, there's gonna be so many like lost opportunities.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think it's like better to just like be vulnerable, take the risk as long as you're respectful about it and you're not like you know, you haven't completely, when you say read the room, like you have to at least know that maybe the other person is like open potentially
to dating or whatever,
then I think it's good. I feel like people in this city sometimes are a bit closed off.
We're way too closed off. There's so much, I feel like there's so much.
Everyone friend zones everyone.
Everybody friend
zones
everyone.
And it's not always necessary.
And then we complain about the dating scene being so crap, but then it's like you're around a bunch of people that are actually good people. You just don't want to mingle because you've cut them off, you know, or like you've just said no to them. I'm going to come up with like I'm going to do an experiment maybe and come up with like subtle ways to shoot your shot, but are not very subtle, and see if they work. And if they do, I'm going to talk about them on the podcast.
So you're just going to have a list of people that you're going to hit up.
I'm going to shoot my shot with. I might as well try.
How do you do it subtly?
I feel like there are so many ways you could do it subtly. Like you could I don't know, like, it depends on, I don't want to say them, because then if I say them and then I try them, people are like, oh, she's doing them. But I just feel like, I don't know. The one I'm thinking about now is like maybe shooting, like asking for help with certain, like, especially in this industry, it's like asking someone for help with certain things.
That's so hard that you said that now, though, because you ask a lot of people for help, and now everyone's always going to think
I've asked for help with so far, guys. I'm struggling. Okay, I'm learning everything on YouTube.
The ask for help thing is funny. I remember when I was in uni, there was this girl in my class, and like after the first 2 classes or whatnot, we got handed an assignment. We like kicked it off pretty well and whatnot, and I was like, oh, like this is genuinely good banter. This was my first semester of university as well, and I was like, oh, yo, do you want to do the what's it called, the assignment together kind of thing? Like we can catch up after uni, library, whatever.
Were you shooting your shot?
Like, obviously, I'm not trying to do the assignment together. Like, and based on how our conversations were going,
you were like, yes.
She's like, yeah, like I'd love to, whatever. I was like, I bet. 3 p.m. was when we agreed to like meet up. I messaged her, I'm like, yo, where you at? She's like, yo, I'm at the library with my boyfriend. It's like, yo, something happened at home. I need to go home right now.
You're supposed to meet right now. You're like, I'm outside. Actually, I gotta go.
Literally, never talked to her since. She liked my story the other day. So.
Oh. Too little, too late,
too late, buddy.
Too little, too late.
I just think people need to be more upfront as well. It's not always subtle. Like sometimes it's better to just be like,
yeah, you're right.
How would you feel, either of you, if like a guy came up to you and they're like, yo, I've just been looking at everything you're doing and I appreciate it, blah, 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 and I was just gonna say, I think you'd be a lovely person to get to know some more.
I think that's great. Like, I think it's cool that people do that. I prefer that, and I wouldn't say like, obviously I would genuinely try the situation. Yeah, I'd go out on a date or I'd talk to them, whatever. Because I feel like it takes a lot of courage to actually come up to someone like that and just say, hey, look, like, I think you look like a cool person. Let's get to know each other. Rather than just like, I don't know, the sliding in the DMs or just like talking to them out in public is not so bad too. Yeah, but it's just, I don't know.
It just depends. But I respect people that can just like be forward, and as long as it's not like too intense, because that can be too much as well. But if you just like say how you're feeling and stuff, I think it's good. And then, but you have to be able to take the potential rejection that comes back.
So respectfully, like very much, and just like, you know, just simmer
and then
down.
Don't be weird.
Don't be weird, and don't keep going. I think that part is just like
trying to prove yourself to someone is crazy. Like, no, like you should say yes.
Yeah, like just, you know, don't you think if you think about it like this,
it would really work. It would really, really work. I think you're just not looking at it clearly, and now we have a problem.
Now this is awkward because now how many times do I have to say no? Yeah. But I don't know. I respect women that do it though. Respect women so much that actually go and shoot their shot and go for the men that they want, because how much easier would it make our lives as women? Because we're always like, oh, you know, you wait for someone to come to you and then you have to decide whether or not you want them. But if you know what you want and you go for it, just makes the whole process a lot easier. Not saying every single time the guy will say yes, but it just eliminates a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, well, I was always like, you know, men actually have a lot of power and being able to decide who they want and go for it. And then for that to be more socially acceptable. Like, I would rather be in that position and deal with the rejection, because you just get used to, I feel like you get used to it after a little while, than just be sitting there like, you know, waiting.
Yeah, someone pick me.
Say it like that.
No, not like in a pick me sense. It's like, somebody pick me.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't know. It's hard, but
do you have any final words on the dilemma?
Not gonna lie, I forgot. Oh, this is the work one, right?
We just kept going on about other stuff.
Just trying to solve the relationship issues. Just go for it, but respectfully. Like, why not? Like, honestly, why not? What's the worst that could happen?
They say no.
You have to leave your company.
Yeah.
Or you leave your job.
Or Melbourne, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Basically harassment or something. But just as long as everything is respectful.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's the end of the dilemmas. Guys, send all your dilemmas through. All the links are in our bios. We'll be reading a dilemma out each week. Going into the next topic. So, I don't know if you've seen the recent TV series called Swarm. It's by Donald Glover, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Donald
Glover. Have you seen it? It's like a thriller. It's so creepy anyway. So Chloe Bailey's in it.
She the main or?
She's not. She's actually in episode 1.
The main character, her name is Drew, and she's it's like a thriller.
Okay.
And it's like a.
What's this on? Is it on like Apple or?
It's on
Prime.
Okay.
Prime. And it's one thing. Let me just say, Donald Glover, like he has a very. He really, even though the movie is really, the TV series is really airy and like, he's actually a really good producer when you deep it. Because have you watched Atlanta?
Have you guys always called him Glover? It's Glover.
Glover.
Yeah.
Okay. Glover.
It's just I was gonna let 2 or 3 slide.
You're like, you said it once, but the second time, okay, Donald Glover. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
now I do.
Yeah.
Have you watched Atlanta?
Yeah, I've actually been watching it recently.
Okay. How weird is the whole is the series?
Yeah, I like he's one of those guys, I think he has like a massive capacity. Like anything he touches can turn to gold. Like, I don't really like his music. Yeah. For me, but I'm like, it is good. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then it's like his comedy was really good when he was doing that early on. His shows have been pretty well, clearly. Like, everyone always talks about them. Like, this guy's clearly just good
really
at everything he does.
He's really good.
Seems like a nice guy as well.
Yeah. He seems, even when I was watching Atlanta, I just feel like, I don't know, was it just me or do you feel like that was really like his personality?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you see sorry, before cut you off again, the Amazon Prime one he did with Rihanna?
No.
It was like a 30-minute short film. I think it was set in Barbados as well. And it was very, very wholesome. Like it was just a really nice, like, you probably watch it tonight.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it. He's really good. And the thing is with Swarm, it makes you feel really uncomfortable. Like watching it, I was like, I can't keep watching this because it's just really eerie.
Like
but
a
then,
Black Mirror type thing?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah. I would say like Black Mirror, kind of like, but just more thriller / bit gruesome. Like it's just a bit and weird, like very confusing. Okay. So I'm watching it and I'm like, why is this making me feel like this? You know? So obviously I just think he's really good at what he does. I just want to make that point. But Chloe Bailey's scene and she's basically backing it up.
Oh, is this one where Damson was clapping the yams? Yeah. I feel like your audience won't like this kind of jokes.
You never know. Whatever, you're the guest. So basically, he's doing his thing. And everybody's like shocked because obviously it's Chloe Bailey and she's just like doing her thing. Yeah, backing it up on Damson. When I watched that, I can't lie, I was a bit like, ooh, you know. Then I had to rewatch that scene. But
why? What were you gonna find out the second time?
Do you ever just watch something and you're just like, I wasn't able to take it in. Like now I need to watch it again. Like this is Chloe backing it up, and the way it's just Chloe. For me personally, I feel like Chloe, I've kind of switched her brand in my mind already. So every time people get shocked, I'm just like, it is what it is. She's been like this. Can we let the girl live? But what do you think? Because there's a lot of people online saying that she does too much. She's actually not that sexy. She doesn't have the sex appeal. She's just trying too hard.
Yeah, it's so funny that you bring this because like we have a chat for our podcast where we'll send through just topics, right? And then like yesterday I sent through to them because like we'll discuss it next week. It's like, why does Chloe Bailey suck so much?
Oh my god!
Like, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just like, you know those like celebrities where they're like, where you're like, they're extremely famous, but what are they really good at? I'll give you an example. Jennifer Lopez. What is she the best at?
Performing.
Good.
She's not a good singer.
She's not the best at performing. She was not even top 10 at performing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You don't think so? You don't think you'd put her there with like Beyonce?
With Beyonce?
From like her shows back in the day, like her performances?
Not with Beyonce,
I don't think so. And that's why I'm like, I think like, I mean, look, I'm not saying she's crap, right?
Wait, let me just justify this. She's not like Beyonce because she can't sing. Jennifer Lopez can't actually sing that well. Yeah. But she can, like, when I say
she can dance well,
like the dance
I
and
get
the performance,
you.
The like the stage presence and all of that stuff is what I mean.
Yeah. I can hear that, but I'm like, I don't think like globally people will be like, yeah, she's amazing. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where I'm like, she's one of those people where I'm like, you're clearly really good at generating interest. Is probably what you're really good at. You know? But I couldn't tell you why based on skills other than the skill of generating interest, right? Same way I feel about like Kim Kardashian. I'm like, you're amazing at drawing attention. Oh. But what are you really good at?
I have to disagree. Okay. Because Kim Kardashian is actually not good at anything, really. Like, she doesn't have a talent. Chloe Bailey is a crazy singer.
Okay.
Her and her sister, because it's like, what is Rihanna actually good at? Just because she has a good, like, Rihanna just has an appeal to her and a brand.
Okay.
But Rihanna can't sing the same way. She can't sing the same way. Like, she's actually not on that level. Like, a lot of her voice is like...
I feel like that's an acceptable take.
It's been manipulated a lot.
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying?
There's so many. I feel like there's a lot of like celebrities and performers who are like mid. And there would be like thousands of people that are way more talented or whatever. But I feel like the way you become famous is through opportunity and luck and just your circumstance.
But what I'm
and
saying
I know
is
that she was discovered by Beyonce, weren't they? Both
I don't know if they were discovered by her, but they were brought onto the label.
They were brought onto,
yeah.
but they were on Blackish and was it Grownish?
And they
all
were
this
child
stuff is
stars,
after Beyonce, though. I think.
Was really?
I think all that stuff came after that backing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But they grew up as they were child stars, weren't they?
Yeah, they were performers. I think they just like they sung in. Well, I knew they did like church performances and like they would sing in church, and then I think they were doing other things. But I'm telling you, like as a duo together, like they came up because their voice was. They have really good.
That's the thing. I'm not denying that she has a good voice or anything like that. I'm just like, when it comes to the superstardom that she has, right? Because I was like, she has like 6 million followers. I checked this the other day, right? And like just everything, I'm like, you're not crushing it in any field to the extent that all the tabloids make it seem you are. You know what I mean? Like every single news outlet, from like mainstream to Shade Room, which is mainstream as well now, but like feels more like a people's outlet kind of thing. Every single one of them, like anything she does, she's instantly reposted, all this kind of stuff, and it's like it gets comments, it gets whatever. But then I'm like, there has to be some sort of disconnect where I'm like, your fans don't seem to be there. Like, you know, there's those people that people just like to talk about.
No, I get you. There's a lot of like, but I feel like there's a more outrage towards what she's doing. Like, people just want to. She's become a hot topic, than really anything else. But I just feel like she has a shit PR team as well.
Okay, so I think she's like one of the worst managed artists. Because yes, I've heard this a lot. Like personally, I don't know her music. I couldn't name a song except that one that was on TikTok that went viral. I think so. Yeah. There was one that was like a super viral trend.
I think it's Do It.
Yeah, that's it. But like, for example, this week the sales came out for her EP, album, whatever it is. And I'm like, how do you, with 6 million followers and a backing of Beyonce, right, only sell 10,000 copies? Like, that is, and I get she's not the type of artist that people would buy, like, pure sales, which is, like, straight up album, iTunes type thing. But it's like, even with streams, it's like, surely you can do more than 10,000. But that makes me go, like, I think this is one of those people that, and a lot of it's due to the poor management, clearly, that's behind her, is like people love to talk about her. Yeah. But no one's actually, like, invested in what she's doing. You know?
I think so, too.
I do think, and, like, this is just giving her some grace as well, is, like, I think there is a tough element to discovering yourself in front of the whole world. You know what I mean? And I think that's a lot of what she's doing, right? And so it's like, when people give her a lot of flack for, like, being super sexualized or whatever, it's like, it's not that crazy. Like, why are we so cool with it if it's like Cardi or Meg or whatever? But then it's like, no, Chloe? What?
No, Chloe,
way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Beyonce backing that we, like, expect you to go down this classy lane, but Beyonce's also been sexy for the last 10 years or so, you know, very sexy for the last 10 years.
And she came up, I mean, like, when you think of even Destiny's Child and like when 100%. Beyonce started doing her own, when she just started going solo, it was very sexy. I think with Chloe, it's because she came in with her sister, and it was like Chloe Bailey, Halle Bailey, these cute, like the cute sisters, and they were on like, they were on Blackish and Grownish, and then transitioning into, she's a woman, and she's just transitioning into, you know, rebranding herself. She wants to be known as Chloe, the artist, and not like Chloe, with my sister duo. And I think she's just, like you said, she's reinventing herself. She's learning about herself. I think it's okay for her to explore, you know, I mean, what works for her.
Yeah, I think it's just an unfortunate thing, like just exploring in front of the world. You're always going to be up for a lot of critique. Some guy in Melbourne's going to say you have no fans, you know what I mean? Like, but in reality, it's like, like it's a tough gig, like, for sure. but I also think she's very mismanaged. Like, there's no direction. Like, I couldn't tell you what Chloe's about.
I feel like it's that. I reckon it is the not being managed well, because she's a singer and she's an artist. Yeah. That you're just not. There's just more outrage around what she's doing, what her brand is, and her like evolving than her actual music.
But do you think that that's not like their tactic to get people to acknowledge her? It's like PR.
No, because it's very bad PR. Yeah.
No PR is necessarily bad PR. Like, maybe it's just like, I didn't really know her name. You know what I mean? I barely, like, it's getting the conversation started, and then maybe it's like a long play, you know, like she is just coming out as her own. I read that her and her sister only recently got separate Instagram pages, you know, like I feel like she's at the very beginning of like what could be like an evolution of, I don't know what her career could potentially be. So in terms of the management stuff, like I don't think it's necessary, because it's not bad publicity for people talking about how overly sexualized she is and stuff. Like, that's still people talking about her.
But the sales are not showing, and they haven't been for a while, because she's been doing solo. Yeah, she's been gone solo for a while now on her own. So,
but I think it's so hard even these days with the way the music industry is going to make sales and have streams. Like, I just think that's like, I don't know. I just, from a different perspective, it could be all attacked. Because if she wasn't getting all this publicity and stuff, she'd be more irrelevant than she seemingly is now. So, I don't know. Yeah. But I wouldn't I don't know if I'd frame it as, like, bad management.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's tough because I'm like, there's just so many layers to it. I'm like, first of all, like, the whole... Because I'm like, if her management is backed still by Beyonce and whatnot, I'm like, it would serve Beyonce... artistically to see Chloe do really well, right? Not even like financially, it's like whatever, like she doesn't need any money, but it's like there is something to be said about like, yo, if I'm an artist that's a superstar and I can now create superstars, right? Like, hate him or love it, it's like Kanye is one of those people, right? Where it's like off Kanye, you've got all these guys that went massive, right? And girls. And it's like, you're like, okay, this guy has like a Midas touch. Everything he touches is gold, you know? That would say a lot for Beyonce's career, right? Especially because a lot of pop stars don't do that kind of thing. So I'm like when you do the maths on it, it's like 10,000 sales on 6 million followers just on Instagram. That's less than 1/3% of your followers rocking with you. Which that makes me go like, okay, something is disconnecting. Like, clearly management is not they're not rolling things out properly. They're not making sure you're in that lane, because it's like, clearly there is a lane for and like, I'm sure not all her music's like that sexualized type of content. I'm sure like she has songs with other types of content, whatnot, but it's like, there is an audience for all of it. You know what I mean? Like, if all these people are selling so well, right, with less tabloid appearances than her, then it's like, okay, now it doesn't make sense.
What's going on? Yeah. Well, what do you think of the whole, because you said the whole rebranding or her being more sexual isn't really a problem, but we were talking about rebranding and how do you feel about the whole topic of that? Like, do you feel like it's authentic when people go from, you know, what they were to kind of breaking out into this new kind of wave of being, like, when they overdo it, is it just like you're doing too much, or are you just, or this is actually you and you're trying to just break out
be who you really want to be? It is tough because, like, I feel people are always going to perceive that how they perceive that. Like, that is tough. If you feel like, especially for a lot of like, were they on Disney early? Is that what it was when they were children?
I don't think they were on Disney. I think they were just doing performances.
Right.
Yeah. Right. From what I know, from what I've seen.
Because I can imagine, like, being a child star, it's like at some point you want people to stop going like, oh, they're so innocent.
Yeah. Ariana Grande was one example of it.
Exactly. And then it's like, I can understand how you've got to push to the other extreme to kind of balance it out there and like find a middle ground from there. But I can also see the whole thing of like, sex sells, right? And so it's like, it feels like it can seem like a cheap way to get more clicks, right? It's like yo, like, we can see, oh, you weren't selling very well, and then suddenly you're doing this because you know that it's working for Meg, it's working for this, it's working for whatever, you know. It's tough because it's like most people come in the game as adults and they come into the game how they want to be perceived. But for her, and
or they can go straight into that, and it's just like, you know, like you said, sex sells, so it's easy for them to be sexual, like Rihanna or Nicki and all that. So it's just hard. But
but Rihanna like completely changed her brand in that way as well. She went
she
did it so like obviously as well with all of her albums. So I think it just depends on whether people like you. Like everyone loves Rihanna, so no one had an issue. And same with Ariana Grande. Miley Cyrus got so much shit for her, I guess rebranding. So maybe it just depends on how likable you are.
That is a massive thing. I remember hearing Charlemagne talk about it. And he's like, there's certain people where it's like they just have it, and you don't know how to quantify it. You don't know how to like put your finger on it, but you're just like. And then one of the people who was saying is like Rihanna is just one of these people who's like, she walked in a room and just everyone turns around and looks like without her saying anything, without anyone knowing. She's like, she just has it. Don't know what it is. It's just an X factor that everyone attracts to. And I'm like, that's where I'm like, I can see that in someone like Beyonce. I can see that in, obviously in different lanes. I'm like, I can see that in someone like Charlemagne or whatever, right? But I'm like, in Chloe, I'm like, I just don't see it.
Do you think it's a confidence thing?
I feel like it's an authenticity. I feel like it's authenticity thing. Yeah. Like how authentic you are. I think people can like smell it. And with Chloe Bailey, I don't think she's coming off as fully authentic to a lot of people. And maybe that's why they see her as trying to, you know, sell sex or trying to use her body to sell albums or whatever people are talking about. I think maybe that's why she's getting so much backlash. But maybe it doesn't come off as authentic because she is just trying something new.
I think because I see her like in interviews, because I'll see her do a performance and she's so sexual, like literally licking the mic. She'll have like she'll put up a video of her, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, of her just like sucking on a lollipop and just saying like, I want to thank my fans or something. Just random, you know. But then she's on an interview and she's cute girl Chloe, and like she's sweet and bubbly and all that. But I feel like she's working it out. I think she's allowed to do that.
That feels like when like a lot of rappers will portray really hood in the music, and then it's like when you actually get to know them, super gentle, super you know, wouldn't squash a fly kind of thing, you know. And it's like, okay, like there's no need, like you could just make music like Donald Glover and that will succeed as well, you know what I mean?
But instead they want to be like fighting demons and like came from the
the industry is fucking crazy.
You have to do what you have to do as well.
Literally do what you do to get to cut through all the chaos, you know. You have to do something to stand out. So I don't know, you can't really blame people for trying to sell themselves. Like I think a lot of us, like if we were in that situation, like would probably do similar things or be swayed to do similar things or whatever. So I just think when people are online like hating, I always roll my eyes. I'm just on Reddit and I'm reading like, bro, people are like dissecting why she doesn't have sex appeal.
Too much time.
Someone's like, it's called shape language. So usually when people have a round face, it's because you're cute and this. But if you have sharper features like Rihanna, it's like, shut up.
That's because like that. I will say she's very gorgeous.
Who?
Chloe.
Chloe's stunning.
She's gorgeous. Her sister's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like that. Like I don't know. Like that's drag.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
Shape
like
language.
Yeah, sex appeal's not working for you because you're not sexy. Like what?
It doesn't make sense. Like, doesn't make sense. Clearly, people are interested, so it's like I don't know. But moving on to Blac Chyna, because obviously talking about the whole like rebranding and you know what if it's genuine or not. Blac Chyna is now called and goes by Angela White. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
So she was recently baptized and she's gotten off OnlyFans, and she talks about how like she's basically like hung up her boots and she's going into the righteous path. She recently also got her doctorate in liberal arts, but it's something to religious studies as well.
Okay,
it was from a religious university.
Good on her.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I'm happy for it. Like I don't know. I think a lot of these things like that we've seen the celebrity faith thing play out a couple times, and it's like sometimes super honest, sometimes it's not. I think that celebrity world it's a dark place, regardless of, you know, I think there has to be something dark about it that leads a lot of people to try and find some sort of light, right? And so if this is working for her, like, I'm a Christian, so it's like I'm happy for her that this seems to be working for her. But I think it's just a matter of like going, all right, like that's great. I hope it doesn't turn into a thing. Okay, how do I monetize this? You know what I mean? Because her OnlyFans was crazy money. Hers was like, it's like no joke, was something like 10 million a month.
Really?
Hers was
so crazy
ridiculous.
because she came on an interview saying that she only made 2 million
a month or
overall, like last year or something. She's like, no, I was only making like a couple million a year, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's not really when you think about her lifestyle and the way that celebrities live.
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
That's what she said.
Yeah,
but then also a lot of people are like, it's millions.
Yeah, because based on the thing, there was a list that came out, like the OnlyFans top creators, and it's like, I think she was in the top 10 for sure.
Wow.
And so it's like based on her subscribers. But then there's also a thing of like there's now agencies that control people's OnlyFans for them. And so it's like they must have been taking hefty cuts and all this kind of stuff. But I think that's a massive thing to say like no to that income. You know, whether it was 2 million a year or 10 million a month, you know what I mean? Like to cut out that source and go like, no, because of this I'm going to change my ways. Like, hey, if it works for her, if she feels like she's a better person for it, all that kind of stuff, like, sure. I think it'd just be interesting to see how she pivots again, because that's somebody that like, was she famous for beyond being attractive?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you had a good take on it.
Yeah, no, I think like what you were saying, obviously anyone finding faith and finding their direction or whatever that is or whatever it looks like, that's a great thing. And you, from the way that she's talking, the way that she's acting, and when we were talking about it before, like
it seems
her
genuine.
life before seemed chaotic.
Yeah.
You know, it seeed hard. It didn't seem like, I did not envy like Blac Chyna, like everything, suing the Kardashians for like 100 million, the stuff with like Rob Kardashian, like her stuff with her mom, like it just seemed like she was sort of symbolized like being in the worst part of like the industry, as much as she was like making money and whatever. Sure. And I think this whole transition kind of validates that, and like her move to be closer to God and stuff. I just think that it can come off as not authentic as well, because of even the way that it kind of seems like a PR stunt, like all of these things that she's doing, like the post and like the her being baptized and like all of these like news. She's going to all these like news outlets talking about it, taking out her fillers, being like, oh, you know, like I don't do my OnlyFans anymore. Like that's just not the life for me. Kind of, in my opinion, when I was watching the interview, like seemingly looking down on people that continue to do it now. I don't know. And I also read that she's part of like one of the big mega churches in the US. Yeah. And I'm not saying that all mega churches are bad, but some of them have really bad reputations.
For sure.
And especially being a celebrity in that, it just kind of it's just
alarms,
so many red
right?
flags like come off for me.
You.
But I don't want to be like a hater. Like obviously it's always good when someone finds faith. But just for her, like, and knowing her past and everything, I'm like, oh girl, just doesn't scream authenticity to me.
I don't know. I feel like when you said that, I was like, yeah, I do see that side, but it just feels, it feels genuine. Like, I just feel like if you come from such a chaotic background, you're like, even when I see her mum and the way her mum speaks to her, the way her mum is online, just talking shit about her.
Her and her mum were doing up basically Blueface Krishan levels of madness.
They had their own reality TV. Well, I think it was Blac Chyna's reality TV, but it was her mum. Imagine your mum calling you like a jealous this person and all this kind of stuff. I just feel like
it's a bad environment.
Similar thing to Chloe. I feel like we're seeing Blac Chyna kind of like
evolve in real time.
And trying to transition and, you know, get out of maybe like break curses or generational curses in her family and just trying to move out of what she's known her whole life. You know, that's how I'm taking it. But then when you said all that stuff, I was like, yeah, she's doing too much. Why are you jumping on news platforms and trying to showcase that now you're Angela White? And but on the other side, it could be because she's Blac Chyna and everybody knows her as this, so she's just trying to like let everybody know because that's just the world she comes from. Like, she's in the entertainment industry. It's all about, probably that's just what they know. For us, it's phony because it's not really, it's just not organic. But for them, it's just the world that they're in.
I think there is a truth to what you're saying. Like, when it, like, it starts seeming performative and all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like, to me, the wisest approach would be, if you're going to do any sort of massive change at that level, is like, do it in silence. You know what I mean? And then, like, go through whatever. Let people, on top, tabloids are obviously going to try to follow you and be like, oh, it looks like Blac Chyna's changing. Blac Chyna's not at this spot anymore, whatever. But it's like, and then after a while, just be like, yo, this happened in my life. This is what, and then that feels authentic to me. Because I think similarly, like, with, for example, Kanye, it's like when he went through his whole thing and then Christian album and then whatever, and it's like, you're really loud and clearly you need to work this out in private before you become the voice of this thing even. You know what I mean? Because then it just feels like, okay, now you've just tried to monetize this and you've tried to find a way to maintain your relevancy. And then it's like, okay, so your relevancy is actually the most important thing to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, I never want to be too cynical about it. So it's like, I think I lean towards yours where it's like, it seems genuine, but I don't know. But then it's like, it also could be a thing of like, these celebrities are not good with their money. So it's like, I might need to stay relevant to maintain this lifestyle, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy because, like, I think, like, I don't know, I don't want to be, like, pulling away from everything that she's trying to do. But I think people have a right to, like, be cynical. Yeah. And especially when it comes to the power that, like, something like religion has on people's lives, like, day to day. So if you're a celebrity in such a position of, like, influence, and you're part of a movement or part of a church that helps, I don't know, like, it's just, you need to be careful with things like that, because we've seen celebrities do it in the past with, like, Scientology and stuff like that, like, using their platform and using their faith to potentially, like, scam people. Like, you just don't know. And I'm not saying that she's trying to do that. I'm just saying, like, my mind, like, goes to that way with her. And I also think, but then it could also be like, who knows what journey she's on? It could just be like the start. It could go bad, or it could be really good. Like, maybe she's just, like, needed something, and for a lot of people, like, God and stuff, faith can rescue you. So
of course, especially in, like, an environment like hers. I just feel like it'd be so empty and just full of, like, toxic people and just, you know.
I think especially if, I know this is gonna sound like harsh potentially, but it's like, if you are someone that feels like a lot of people in the industry have used you for personal gain, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's been people that dated her for a come up. You know what I mean? Because some people could say that she's done that as well, but it's like, neither here nor there. It's like, I'm sure she's also received that kind of treatment, right? Or it's like, a lot of your interactions aren't actually personal. People are just trying to gain from you, whatnot. Like, it would feel pretty like defeating as well, like what you've been through.
And then your own family is just chaos, and all you have is really your kids. And like, you know, like, I feel like sometimes you just need to pivot. But I don't know. I mean, good luck to her. I think we'll find out in the next 6 months or something. But just on, like, the whole rebranding thing, I don't know. I feel like people get so caught up in, like, creating a brand or creating who they are at the start, and then feel like they can't shift. Because I've seen it with influencers, celebrities, of course, but, like, even just, like, people
YouTubers
just, like,
and stuff?
They're trying to break out, and I think it's okay. Like, we're so quick to be like, no, you can't do that, or this person's being, like, not being authentic, but people change.
I was gonna ask you guys, like, if, you know, when Bittersweet elevates and keeps growing and all this kind of stuff, like, do you guys think you would comfortably shift into something else, or do you feel like you'd need to maintain, like, the type of conversations that you've been having and all that kind of stuff? And, like, because, like, I don't know, like, I'm just trying to think, like, because some people get, like, paranoid about, like, oh, can I have this kind of guest on? Can I not have this kind of guest? You know, it's like, oh, I feel like most of my audience is left-leaning. It's like, if I get a right-leaning, am I going to piss everyone off? That kind of thing.
I think we've had this conversation a lot about, I guess like the structure of Bittersweet and in the future what that would look like is a different conversation, because that's like again playing to strengths and like what we're both interested in. But even when you look at Bittersweet from the start to now, it's changed. Like we've like rebranded like mini ones along the way, because at the start it was like, okay, it's a platform for like Black women, and it still is, because we are Black women and we represent the topics that we're talking about. But it's like it was very like racial and then political and this, and still is that in some ways. But it's like, we're leaning towards like dating and pop culture and things that we, you know, might find are just like, I don't know, just different interests. So I think like we've definitely changed a lot. And I remember at the start we're always like, we're doing too many of these episodes, we need to go back to this, or like we need to, but I think you just need to just go with what's natural and what your audience like, what, you know, what's natural, what your audience likes. And then me and Rahel, what we started this 3 years ago, like we're going to be in the next 3 years, we're going to be 30. Like we can't be talking about the same thing we're talking about when we were 27, 26, you know? So it has to change. Like you have to be okay with change, and people have to be okay with that as well.
I think as long as you're again like authentic about it, I think like your audience will be annoyed if you're like, you're saying all this and then you get some right wing politician or whoever on talking about like fuck all Black people, you know? It just depends like how you do it, I think. And like if as long as you're real and your audience and stuff grows with you, changes with you as well. So I think it's just like keeping it.
What about you guys? Real. Well, you and like how you see disruption and like.
I think we've been, especially myself, it's like, we're not controversial. But it's like we will push the envelope quite a bit. And so it's like, if it grows despite that, it's like, oh, I don't need to change. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, clearly there's an audience for this kind of thing. And I think because we've already done different styles of shows and stuff like that as well, like with the cooking thing and other stuff coming up and all that kind of stuff, it's like people are used to us branching out already from early. But it would be interesting to see like, I don't know. It's tough. I think because I don't see like any of our personalities changing that much. You know, like I don't feel like, I don't know, like Carl's just gonna decide to be sexual one week. Like,
all of a sudden he's like got his own OnlyFans.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just discovering myself. Nah, like, I feel like everyone's pretty set. So it's like, I don't see that changing much. I think the one thing I'm like, how do you make sure that you keep getting more like followers? You know what I mean? Beyond just what you have, because like we're not gonna change that much. So then.
But your experiences.
But our experiences will
like
grow.
I feel like even just like obviously Daniel and Marwa are gonna get married. You guys are gonna go. You know, you're like in a serious relationship. I just feel like all those like different things come up. So topics come as we get older.
100%.
But do you ever get like? Do you get backlash for your for your comments? A lot of backlash.
No, people genuinely love it.
Yeah.
But we cut out stuff that's not. Like I'll never. Okay, this is like, because I genuinely love comedy, right? And like I genuinely think the best comedy is the comedy that makes fun of everyone, right? No one in particular, but what makes it really good is like when it's specific, right? So it's like, it's lazy to make fun of, I don't know, oh, just this because I'm Middle Eastern. It's like, it's lazy to make fun of Middle Easterners or go for like the low hanging, you know, terrorism, whatever, you know what I mean? But it's like, if you can find something specific about Iraqi people and say that, I'm like, oh, you are so far from thinking negatively about us because you've taken the time to learn about us. You know what I mean? So those kind of jokes will keep them in. Anything where it's like, it feels like, hey, this will unnecessarily bother some people, or like, just YouTube won't like it or something, that we'll get rid of. There is one person that used to help us out editing clips. And she still has access to the file with like the original stuff. So she's like, whenever things will get cut out, she'll just go and like listen to it. She's like, what's wrong with you? But otherwise it's cool. Like, it's worked for us.
It's funny. It's so funny.
It's gone viral as a couple times. You know what I mean? So it's like, it works.
It's so unhinged. That's all I can say. And he just says them casually as well. But that was all we had to say on that topic. This is thanks so much for jumping on the episode.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. This was very fun.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.